Folks, welcome to a new week. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything went well over the weekend, and if you were working over the weekend, I hope you're getting some time off real soon. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, the Patreon button is also down below. That is for people who want to support the channel financially going forwards. You really do help me out with doing so, and if you do that, you will be involved in the prize draw, which takes place this Sunday. This Sunday, the prize draw is happening, which is Sunday the 6th of August. You have a big chance to win £50 worth of free models from Composite Games and a Dark Angels Command box set. And with the Dark Angels being one of the prominent figures in the current 10th edition lore, it is a good box set to be going with and getting right now. So, if you want an opportunity to win one of those two brilliant prizes, then make sure that you are a part of the Patreon or you are a member of the channel. Either way, you are providing a financial benefit and you help me do this as I go on in life. And yeah, thank you very much. And if you do both of those things, you'll be entered into the prize draw twice because you're a legend and we love you very much. So, also, Composite Games, they do a lot for the channel, so please make sure you continue to support them. If you need anything from the hobby, you get a really good price on Composite Games. Not only that, if you use the promo code Northern Exile down below, you get yourself 5% off at checkout, which is even more money off. And not only are you doing that, but you're helping out people who are near and dear to my heart, because they help me out with hobby stuff, with prizes for prize draws, things like that. So, help them if you can. If you're getting any hobby stuff, away you go. You know what to do. Right, Hobby Nightmares time. It is Monday. And, yeah, let's jump into them, shall we? So, Josh says, "Hello there, North. Josh MC2000, or Josh here, whichever you prefer. Apologies if the title feels a little melodramatic. Wasn't sure how to describe the story in a tagline. I can't even remember what the tagline was, so no problem. Over the past few months, I've been watching your stuff and felt like I should probably send this in. I also apologise if it's a bit all over the shop. I promise I'm going somewhere with this." Alright, how long is it? Not too long. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. "I've been in the hobby since my second year of university. I graduated this month and I am currently looking for a job. I studied a BA in filmmaking. This will be relevant later. During my time at university, I used the hobby as a way to de-stress, especially the painting side. I also used the gaming side as a social experience during university. I'm not a big party type and struggled making friends with the people in my year. Not many of the people in my year really clicked with me, apart from a small group I keep in touch with now. When I started to get into the hobby, I went into the games workshop near my university campus and asked if they did any games. They said they didn't, but they told me about a little place that did in that area. So I went looking to get a game for the first time, not really sure what to expect with a carry case full of some half-painted Necrons. I was following the painting guide in the Imperium magazine at the time. A year later, I have several small armies ranging from about 500 points to about 1,500 points, and I'm loving the hobby. The owner of the place was wonderful, and the community around the place was great. They were really accepting the moment I walked in, and never really had any bad experiences attached to them, at least from my side. After my second year at uni, I decided I wanted to do a film project to keep my skills up to scratch in between years. I went to the owner and asked him if I could do a documentary on why people get into Warhammer in the first place. He said yes, on 2 grounds. 1, I don't get him in it, and 2, I have permission from the people I interview. That's fine, no problem. Not everybody wants to be on film. The second I took as a given, as it's considered standard when we're making a film as part of our studies. The first I was kind of gutted about, as he was an ex-Games Workshop guy that had involvement back in 3rd edition and had some strong opinions on the game I found interesting. Yeah man, the reason he doesn't want to be on film is the same reason me personally will never be invited to another thing that Games Workshop do ever. I'm completely blacklisted, gone. Like they do not want to hear about this channel or me in general. Because I used to work there. You can talk shit about Games Workshop all you like. All you like. As long as you didn't work there. If you worked there and you leave and you put them on blast for something, you're done. You are done. Have you noticed how everybody who worked for them, who has left, hasn't, whenever there's been a controversy or something that they've done which is just black and white bad, right, they just skate over it. They don't talk about it, right? Because it's very, very, very... They don't get freebies, they don't get invites, they don't get insider information unless they stay on their good side. That's it, right? And that's what this guy's doing. He's obviously getting something in the pipeline. He's either getting free stuff, or he's getting invitations to certain events and things that he likes to go to, or he's getting a free... It could even be a free White Dwarf that you get sent to a free White Dwarf subscription. That happens a lot, you know, for ex-staff. It could be anything. But if he's on film saying anything bad, he's done. Like, they just drop him like a hot brick, and he's done. I made the film regardless, and continued to enjoy my time at the place. I even went back to make a second documentary for my third-year final project, when my original plan fell to bits a little bit. When I finished editing, and I'd handed it in, I was stressed out and burned out. I ended up having to hand it in unfinished, when one of our team members dropped off the face of the map without warning or trace, the day he was meant to give me the finished version. I've since spoken to him, and he had to deal with some stuff. I won't go into detail, but he's okay now, which is the main thing. Well, dude, you're very understanding. If somebody did that to me, I would be furious. So, I was looking forward to making up for the games of 40k and Kill Team I'd had to skip over for my past 12 months of university. That's when we got the news that the place was temporarily closed due to the power being cut off. The owner said he would keep us posted when the problem was resolved. A few weeks went by, and we got the message on the Facebook group that he was open for collections only, and so I went down as I had an order to collect. When I got there, the lights were out and the door was locked. So, I checked my watch, thinking I'd got there earlier than I had meant to again. I often show up before the owner due to miscalculating how long the public transport would take, so this was a regular thing. But no, on this occasion, I'd arrived about right. So I looked in through the glass, and the guy was sitting there, head in an old Beastman's Codex from Warhammer Fantasy in the pitch black. 7th edition, if anyone cares. I tap on the glass. He looks up and comes and opens the door and welcomes me in. The first thing I notice is the damn beeping coming from the fire alarm. I could be misremembering it because it was caused by the power being out regardless, I guess. So I asked him, quite obviously, what the hell's the problem? What's going on? And he explains to me, the day he first closed, he had the electric company round to cut him off. And he was informed he had about 3 years worth of unpaid electric bills to clear. Now, he was surprised by this, as he was under the impression it was covered by his rent. So he had a £10,000 bill dropped on him like that, and was basically told, sort it, idiot, or no power for you. So I asked him when he was going so I asked him what he was going to do about it, and he said, I'm going to set up a GoFundMe for the half of it and clear the stock for the other half. Good idea. Good idea. Yeah, if you don't have the 10 grand, then you need your business to carry on going. It's a good idea. So, I bought 3 9th edition Ed Codexes to fill holes in my collection, and a squad of Virtus Praetors. I also put $20 into the GoFundMe under the thought of one box of models isn't an issue versus having the store and its community anymore. My mum even put some money into the GoFundMe as a thank you for him helping me out with my uni work. I won't disclose the amount as it isn't my money. When he was open for collections, I'd also grab some paint and other bits I needed for painting. However, he closed the week the Leviathan box set launched. I bought mine from him in hopes it might help keep the place open if he does well enough with them. However, he stated when I got to collect my copy... However, he stated when I went to collect my copy, I just wanted to stay open long enough to get the guys who have been supporting me a copy. At this point, it wouldn't have changed a damn thing. It was at this point I learned the price of the bill, and I felt awful for him. He also had a frank talk with me about the 3 other near misses he'd had over the years with the business. I asked him what his plans were, and he said, have some time to think and look at where I go next. As I left, he thanked me for the support over the years, and he appreciated that I asked how he was doing. I don't mind admitting I had a hard time trying not to cry when I was around the corner. I had come to appreciate the community there, and it was the first place in a long time where I felt like I was with like-minded people. I know it sounds daft, but this little shop and the people in it came to mean a whole lot to me. I have since tried to look for other places, but it's just not the same. Even the place I go to for Magic the Gathering that's similar has some shortcomings. If I want games there, I basically have to build a community for 40k from scratch. I'll be fair to them, the owners are really up for me teaching people how to play Kill Team and 40k, but I struggle to remember the rules myself half the time, and I'm worried if I make a mess of it, it could end up killing people's interest in it stone dead before the year have even started. On top of this, we need to bring our own terrain each time. The only other two places I can think of near me are not really great options either. The closest is my local Games Workshop, but it's only one night a week and there is a limited space on offer there. On top of this, after some of the problems they caused the owner of my previous store, I'm not sure I want to support them directly. Yeah, I'm guessing that was stock issues. Serious stock issues. Games Workshop don't give a shit if a normal stockist gets any stock. They just don't. They don't give a shit. Right? The only two other places I can think of near me... sorry, I've already read that bit. The other option is a small local gaming cafe. My friend pointed it out to me when he was up there and suggested that I check it out. However, upon walking through the door, the 40k players in there glared a hole through my head like a demon had just popped out of my skull. Now, I'll admit, I'm a 22-year-old guy, I'm not the best at reading people at times, but I got the distinct feeling that I wasn't welcome. So I spoke to the guy behind the till about what the process is for getting a table for a game, ordered a milkshake and a bit to eat before heading over to a comic shop I knew close by. I haven't gone back to that one since. I still love the hobby, but I'm yet to get a game of 10th or any of the more social things I used to at the old store. Any advice, North? I'm sat here not knowing what to do, as I'm not a fan of getting stuff online and I miss the social side of the hobby, even if it was just sitting with a coffee talking to others in the store. Sorry if it's long-winded, North, I just wasn't sure how to put it down any other way. Thanks for the content you do, and if you want me to send over any shorter, happier stories from my time in the community, just let me know. Cheers, Josh. Alright, so, here's the thing. That's beyond your control. Like, the other store is beyond your control. What you just said there, I completely get. I completely get what you mean when you say you don't want to be the one teaching people how to play the game. Then, go to others, as in go to the guys who were in that old store. I'm sure you've got a phone number or two around there somewhere, right? Go to those guys and say, hey, would you mind teaching people to do 40k in this group I'm putting together? It's going to be a really cool group, all going to be together, playing really cool games. I want you there, please come and you know, and we'll try and get the community back to what it was in the old store. You will have people who want to help you do that, I'm telling you now, because you won't be the only person feeling this way. Get onto them, get onto the old guard from the old store and say, hey, where are you guys playing? Are you getting any games in? And if they're not, then select one of the places you already told me about, right? I would go with the normal store. You know that store that you said where the owners were happy to have you teach people 40k? I would do that one. Turn up to that place with guys from the old store, some of the old guard, and go and just meet them there for a few games. And eventually, don't teach people how to play the game. Just go there, play games, and have fun. And eventually, that group will start to grow organically. If you don't have their numbers, then put the feelers out there on the internet. Go back to, I'm sure you've got the details of the old store manager. Go to him and say, hey, do you have any numbers? Do you have any people from the store that I can get in contact with, and we can start getting people together? Sort your own group out. That whole part of the hobby, man, is finding opponents. That's the 90% of the gaming part of the hobby that makes it a success, is finding the right opponents. You did find the right opponents, so go and find them again and go to that new venue. That's what I would do. All right, go to the Magic the Gathering store. Go there and start building it yourself. That's what I would do. That's the only way to really get out of this situation. Okay? Cool. Moving on. Bish says, Yo, North. Just wanted to swing something by you, brother. My local store is being taken over by woke people. Oh, dear. Controversial first statement, I know. A little bit about myself first. I come from a family of hippies, and I'm 24 years old. I've been brought up to be very much on the left side of things. So much that even you, someone who is mostly in the centre, I disagree with about 90% of your opinions. Which is cool. I can watch somebody without agreeing with everything that they say, and I don't feel the need to bitch about it. Dude, you are a diamond, mate. You are a diamond. The one thing that YouTube has opened me up to is the amount of people with far too much time on their hands. Far too much time. Like they will write a diatribe that I will skim read. I won't even read it or reply to it. They'll write a diatribe in the comments about how they disagree with something that I've said. Dude, do something else with your time, please. Please do something else. Go and read a book. Go and better yourself. Go for a walk. Go for a run. But dude, don't sit there on your phone or on your computer and type me an essay that you expect me to read in the comment section. I'm not going to do it, right? If you don't agree with me, don't agree with me. Move on. I swear to God, there have been people on this channel, and I bet you there are as well, who agree with me 95% of the time. But the 5% they don't, they feel the need to write an essay to me. I don't care. I won't read it. I don't have the time. Right? I do not have the time. If your comment is short and to the point, and I think when I'm reading it that it's constructive criticism, I will give it a like and a respond. Ask anybody. Go back on any of my YouTube videos. There've been many people who've been negative where I've responded quite nicely and said, yeah, that's a good point, you know. Well, even other people's YouTube videos where people have been bitching about me, I said, yeah, that's a fair point, you know, whatever. And I've moved on. You know? But, yeah, dude, if you're going to write me an essay, don't do that. Don't do that. It makes you look strange. Anyway. The world doesn't revolve around me, after all. Thank you very much. Yes, good. Good for you. Saying that, when it invades a space I've defined as an area of peace, where I can just be me, it kind of makes me feel like Ed Norton's character, who goes to support groups to feel alive and be able to sleep at night, and then he notices another faker in there, and it just poisons it for him. That's in Fight Club, right? I think it's in Fight Club. Yeah, so Ed Norton's character can't sleep, and he goes to, it turns out he needs to let his emotions out to actually sleep, and he can only do that in support groups when you're asked to cry. And so he goes there, he does that, he gets addicted to it because it helps him sleep, but when he finds somebody else there who's fake, because the other person goes to all of the same groups, it ruins it for him and he can no longer sleep, right? I get that. Very nice analogy for somebody who's going somewhere to be themselves. That's a very nice analogy, I like that. So it's not exactly like that, but that's the feeling that I'm getting. Okay, cool. My local game store is amazing. A fantastic place where I sit with friends and talk shop about lore, paint models, and play awesome games. We all spend a lot of time in there, and we all spend a lot of money in there to make sure the owner is compensated for providing the space we use to do our hobby. It's a brotherhood. Then, the infiltration started. Oh no. This is going to break my heart. It began with good-looking girls suddenly turning up to the store to talk to people and play a few games with armies of Tyranids and Sisters of Battle and things like that. Nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, that was quite welcome at the time. However, they would push very left ideas like the gender pay gap into conversations. Even once telling the owner of the store that if he had female staff, they would be paid less than the men, which is not true. Yet you're damn fucking right it's not true. It's not true. It is not true. Right? If you have a man and a woman doing the same job, they'll be paid exactly the same. If they don't, that place is opened up to all kinds of fucking litigation that they're never going to recover from. Ever. Right? Yeah. There is a gap in pay, but it's a gap that is through choice. It's by women wanting more time off. It's by women wanting to go into careers that aren't that well paid. It's by women wanting to go and have kids or to go and have breaks from work and do things like that, right? That's what it's from. It's not from... So they are earning less money overall, but it's through choice. It's through, like, I want to go into nursing. I want to go into health things. You know, I want to go into mental health. They're all lower paid jobs, right? I want to be a teacher. Being a teacher isn't a very well paid job, but it is a hugely female dominated, you know, workspace. I should know. I was there. Okay? It's a hugely dominated female workspace, and you're paid fucking buttons. You know where people are paid a lot? STEM. right? Science, technology, places like that. Male-dominated places. And not male-dominated places because people are only hiring men. It's male-dominated places because the men are the ones who push themselves to get there. Because they don't give a shit about having kids. They don't give a shit about anything else. They're actually kind of selfish. They're very selfish. They go, no, my career, my life, go fuck yourself, and they go on, right? And they go on and they want to succeed. Now, here's the thing. I don't judge a woman for making those same decisions. If a woman says, I don't want to have kids, I want to focus on my career, all power to you, man. Go for it. Go for it. And you will be afforded the exact same opportunities that men do. You will. And if you're not, sue them. Sue them. They will lose. Like, in the current climate, there's no way you're going to lose. Everybody's terrified of you in the current climate, guys. Like, if you're a woman and you're going into a STEM or any field that's really highly paid and you're qualified to do the job, they're fucking terrified of you. You will get that job, right? You will get that job. And you'll be paid exactly the same as the men. If not more, you'll get paid exactly the same. I'm telling you, right? And you should be afforded exactly the same opportunities. And as far as I'm aware, I know a lot of people in STEM fields from my time at university. A lot of them are women. A lot of them are doing very well for themselves. So, from my experience, mate, no, that's not a thing. Gender pay gap is not a thing. Okay, it is a getting paid by a gender is a thing, right? So if you choose to go into lower paid jobs or you choose to take breaks from your high earning job, you will get paid less than the person who is staying at that job full time all of the time, regardless of whether that person's a woman or a man. It just so happens that most people who are making the initial choice of stepping away from work are women. So yes, by and large, you will get paid less because you're doing those things, right? Unless you're a woman who plays football, then you're just shit at the sport that you're playing. Sorry, nobody wants to watch you. Your sport's a load of shit. No one cares. Go watch the Premier League like everyone else. All right, cool. Moving on. This went on for a few weeks, but unfortunately, a few of the guys started falling in lockstep with those good-looking girls, as you do. Eventually, their friends would begin turning up to the store from another store over state lines. We live near state line. Is that the state line in California, where Nevada is? Isn't that in Tahoe? I don't know. I'm really generalizing here because a state line might be everywhere. I don't know, but the state line I know was in Tahoe. Beautiful place, by the way. Beautiful place. Eventually, their friends would begin turning up to the store from another store over state lines. We live near state line, and these dudes were die-in-the-wool allies, like backing up all of the girls and all of their points, and browbeating anybody who just wanted to sit there and paint without a political diatribe being discussed at all times. Yeah, okay, right. Just a quick break there. If any of you took offense at what I just said before, dude, sense of humor, get one. I mean, I'm being honest. I made a joke about football. I know there's gonna be a few of you in there going, "Oh, dare he say that?" Dude, go and watch women's football. It fucking sucks. I love football. All of you know how much I love football. If you're friends with me on Steam, you see how often I play FIFA and Football Manager, despite me not being one of those guys. I'm not a FIFA bro, right? But I play Football Manager all the fucking time. I love football. I love the sport. And if I can get it anywhere, I'll go and watch it. I've tried watching several hours of women's football. It fucking sucks compared to the Premier League, compared to non-league. I've gone and watched football games at my local park. Non-league dudes playing. These are not professionals, and they are better to watch than the Women's World Cup. I don't care what you say. It just isn't the same physical level, the same speed level, the same aggression level. It's not there. It's not for me. If it's for you, all power to you. Have fun. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any women's football. Go and have fun, dude. I don't care. It's not for me. It's fucking terrible. It's not for me. Alright? Cool. Women's boxing I'll watch. Remarkably, I don't really see a difference between the two. Women's boxing is great. I'll watch that. Women's rugby is good. I'll watch that. For some reason, women's football just doesn't click. Doesn't click for me at all. It's not my thing. And, you know, it sucks. And anyone says it doesn't, I want to have them examined for either bias because they're trying to get laid, or not having a brain, or switching their brain off with this particular argument. By the way, the reason why women football players get paid less than the men is because they bring in less money. That's why. They bring in less money. It just is what it is. Women's football earns money once every 4 years, and that's the World Cup. And even then, it earns like a tenth of what the men's World Cup earns. That's why they're paid less. If you want women to get paid more in football, what you do is you inject finances into grassroots women's football, and you build it up from there. Here in England, we're doing a really good job of that. We're pumping money into the Women's Super League, and we're building it up so there's more and more and more interest. That's what you do. You don't just give money, Megan Rapinoe, to the people at the fucking top of the sport and say, there, equality. No, because they're going to retire, and it goes right back to the way that it was. You go back to the grassroots, and you make sure that all girls in this country have the opportunity to be football players as a job. As soon as you do that, the quality and standard of your professional players jumps by a factor of 10. We're already seeing it, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't want it to succeed. Because everybody should have the right to play sport. Right? It's not for me. But everyone should have the right to do it. And that's how you do it. Just blindly saying, I want equality, isn't solving the issue. What solves the issue is looking why are women's footballers paid less? Because they're earning less money. Why are they earning less money? Because their sport's a load of fucking shit. Alright, well, how do we make that not a load of shit? We pump money into grassroots football and make sure that all women get proper training from the time that they're 3 years old to be professional footballers if they want to, just like the men. Bang! Done! Finished. And we're already seeing results in the UK. The women's Super League has got good reviews by lots of women. They have full stadiums. It's going well. Carry on, right? That's how you solve the issue. Stop fucking complaining and do something about it. Anyway, back to the story. I'll stop ranting. When the owner finally talked to the guys and asked them to stop, they said they would. Oh, okay. Okay. And they responded, behind his back, by smearing the store on Facebook ratings and other sites meant to review the store. They called him a racist, a misogynist, and all other sorts with no evidence at all. Of course, all the accounts could not be linked back to them, and they denied everything when we confronted them. Dude, that's a nightmare. Can you imagine running a store like this? Oh my god. Now the store owner, Mike, is considering selling up, as he just feels like he's lost complete control of his store and refuses to call the police on customers who would easily turn all of this around on him. Dude, as you know from the start of this, I am an uber lefty. I am a feminist, the whole shebang. I can't stand the sneering attitudes of these people, and they are taking over the store. The nature of their opinions is starting to spread to guys who I know in 5 to 10 years' time, when they're thinking in their right minds, will wonder why they ever thought that way. I'll tell you, you were trying to friend your way into some pussy by mimicking their beliefs and ideals. Go fuck yourself. What do I do here, man? I don't want to lose my store. Bish. Alright, so we're establishing a theme here on people losing their stores. Dude, that sucks. And you're completely right. You're completely right. A lot of the guys who do this, they're trying to friendship their way into pussy. That's what they're trying to do. You're not being honest with yourself. Always, always, always in life, you'll be much, much happier if you stop trying to account for other people and you're true to yourself. You go, you know, what do I want? Alright, I want to get laid. Okay, I'm going to honestly try to get laid honestly. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to work on the way I speak to people. I'm going to lose some weight, I'm going to smell better, look better, I'm going to go out there and have some fun. And if I don't get laid, fine. You know what, I'll keep trying, I'll keep talking, and I'll keep getting better at this, until finally, I'm a more self-actualized person, and I can hold a conversation with several women at once, and end up going home with one of them, right? That's the way you do it. But then there are guys like this who try and shortcut their way to getting women. And the thing is, it may work. 1 time in 10 it may work. But that person's only sleeping with you out of guilt. You revolt her, dude. She finds you revolting. I've said this before, right? Don't pussy yourself up. Be honest with her and be honest with yourself. You want to get laid. She knows you want to get laid. Lay it out there. Just lay it out there. Be a man. Be a man about it. Don't be a girl like this. Don't just nod and agree with everything that she says, because in the vague hope that she's going to touch your penis, right? Don't do that. You're a fucking traitor. You're a traitor, and you broke omerta. I've had friends who've done this, and we've had actual standing verbal spouts in a pub. This happened to me once, right? All right, I'm gonna lay out the story. So one of my best friends, I go to a pub with him, and he's always been a bit of a simp. And what I mean by that is he's always been a guy who will drop you for a woman at the drop of a hat. But that's his only flaw. He's an amazing dude aside from that. That's his only flaw. And he only does it once every couple of years, and it'd be a woman who comes across who just blows his mind, right? So it's overlookable. We went out with a couple, right? A man and a woman. So it's a man and a woman and me and my friend. We all went out, had a few beers, had a few drinks, and the woman is spouting off nonsense. I won't go into what it's about, but it's just nonsense. And I'm sitting there just gritting my teeth, and I'm looking at her husband, who's also sitting there going, this bitch doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about, or what the fuck. And he's not saying anything because he's browbeaten, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And in the end, and my friend is sitting there listening to her rapt, nodding along, yes, completely right, yes. And then in the end, I think it was something about history. I think we went into, oh yeah, so first of all, she started saying that the American way of doing health is terrible, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, which it is. But then she started to extol how amazing the NHS is, and any of you who know, the people who work in the NHS are amazing. The NHS itself is a bunch of fucking shit, right? Doesn't work, isn't fit for purpose. The people who work there are working against the system, right? They're amazing people working with two hands tied behind their back. That's what they're doing. The system doesn't work. And she was going on like it does. And that was the thing that I was starting to break on, because I've had family in the NHS that they've always been. We've had terrible things in the NHS. We've had people nearly pass away because of incompetence and things not getting done because of bureaucracy and things like that. It's terrible, dude. And I just, it's not fit for purpose. Anyway, moving on. And thing is, when you say that, people say, well, you just hate the NHS. No, I don't. People who work there are fucking amazing. They're heroes. They're heroes, and they're working with both hands tied behind their back, and they're still somehow not killing people for the most part. That's incredible, right? Because the system itself is made so they can't do their jobs, right? I'm friends with nurses, I'm friends with doctors, I'm friends with dentists, friends with all sorts of people. They can't do their jobs because of the system, right? It doesn't work. So I was starting to grate. And then history comes up, right? Her husband brings up history, thinking, let's change the subject, let's do one that North knows. North knows about history, let's talk about that. So we got talking about history, and she starts spouting off wrong shit. Just wrong shit, right? Absolutely wrong. And so in the end, I just snapped and corrected her. I just corrected her, said, no, that's not right, right? I think it was on, she was making a point on the slave trade and saying that, Britain invented the slave trade or something like that. And I said, no, that's completely not true. That's completely not true. Absolutely not true. Britain ended the fucking slave trade. We didn't start it. We ended it, yes. In fact, we had to blockade African ports to stop slaver ships getting in and out. That's how much people on both sides still wanted it, because it made money. Right? Yes, we ended it. We didn't start it, we ended it. We got involved. Listen, I'm from Liverpool. This entire city was involved in it. It was evil, an evil practice. We were involved, we didn't start it. Right? And here I am coming up with dates and treaties and all these other things, just saying, no, we didn't. I'm coming up with evidence saying, look, we finished it, we didn't start it. Right? We got involved in it, which is an evil thing to do. We shouldn't have done that. I agree. But it was a different time, a different place, and you're using modern perception to judge people in the past. Okay? It's the same reason why if somebody's 90 years old and they have quite racist ideals, dude, of course he does. He's 90 years old. Okay? You can't judge the guy. He's 90 years old, right? If there's somebody who should know better saying shit like that, then challenge it, yes. But don't challenge somebody who's in the 90s, dude. You're not going to change their mind. These are people living in the past. That's where they come from. That's where they come from. They come from a different time, a different period. It is what it is. Move on, right? And it's the same thing about this. Like, as a historian, you've got to be very, very, very careful not to get involved in ideologies and not to judge people. Look, Julius Caesar killed 1 million Gauls, 1 million French people, right? Which to some British people would be a good thing, but I'm moving on from that, right? But you can't judge him by modern standpoint. That's not really a genocide, because to him, right? To him, those aren't humans. Now, if that happened today, that would be absolutely deplorable. String that guy up. Get rid of anybody who was ever involved with him. We saw it with the World War II and all that sort of stuff, right? Got rid of all those people, great, right? But I can't judge Julius Caesar by modern levels, by modern standpoints, because he was living in a different world, in a different time. And he believed different things. He honestly believed that what he was doing was just completely fine. These are subhuman, they're not human, right? Which is completely wrong. Completely wrong. But he's living in a different time, in a different space, and I've got to take him on his own. If I don't take him on his own word, if I don't take him on his own level, I'm learning nothing from history. If I go back and I say Julius Caesar was a despot and a war criminal, I'm missing the point. I'm missing the point. I'm not learning by history. I'm just blatantly saying this guy is wrong. I'm not learning. You need to go and have people on their own terms. And then, you know, that's how you do history, right? That's how you do history. So this is what I was saying to her, is that you can't do things like that, blah, blah, blah. And the response to this was literally, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, just blind, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And my friend started to stand up for her. And I fucking lost it. I just looked at him like, are you fucking serious, dude? In the end, about an hour or two later, the couple who were only joining us for a few hours anyway, got off, they went home. And I ended up saying to my friend, mate, you're a fucking simp. And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I was like, are you insane? Are you insane? How can you sit there and say, what do you mean? You've just literally backed this woman up when what she's saying is completely false, because you're blindly hoping that she might touch your dick when her husband is sitting right fucking next to her. Right? She mentioned earlier on that they were in an open relationship, which, by the way, it just shows what kind of a marriage it is anyway, because the guy looks fucking miserable sitting there next to his wife because they're in an open relationship, right? Do with that what you will. And because of that, my friend is now acquiescing to every single thing that she fucking says. I'm like, mate, you know history. You don't know as well as I do, but you know history. And you know I know my shit. And you didn't back me up. In fact, you backed her up when you know she's wrong. You broke omerta. Omerta is bro code. You back your bros up all the time. If my friend got into a fist fight, even if he's in the wrong, he's my friend, I'm backing him up, and I'm going in swinging. I don't give a shit whether he's in the wrong or in the right. If he's in a fist fight, I'm going in swinging. That's bro code. If a woman is coming into our group and is trying to put a wedge between us, I fuck that woman off and I stick with my bro. That's bro code. I'm on a night out with him. It's up to us two to keep each other safe. Nobody gets between us. You're on our time. Do you understand that? Okay, that's bro code. And you're breaking omerta. And that's what these guys are doing. Coming all the way back to the story, that's what these guys are doing. They're breaking omerta. They're breaking bro code. They're traitors to the fucking cause. Get them in the sea. They're the worst. These guys are the worst. They're worse than people who cheat in the hobby, who cheat in video games. They're worse than people who besmirch you, who belittle you, who bully you. These are the worst. They're traitors. And get them out. Fuck them off. Get them out. Right? Cool. I'm not sure this store is savable, man. I'm not sure it's savable. The only thing I would do if I was a store owner, I would say, I would have a sign behind the till, and it would say, please do not discuss politics in the store. This is private property, and people are here to have a good time playing the hobby. Put that sign behind your till. Nice and big sign. Big sign, red letters, white background. Put that there. The minute it starts, point to the sign. We've got a new policy, sorry. Don't want to hear it. And the minute they start mouthing off, say, oh, okay, I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police. That's an official store policy. This is private property. We don't discuss politics here. We don't. Right? It's private property. As long as it's private property, if he owns that store and owns that building, it's private property, he can do whatever he wants in that building. He can say what goes in it. That's American law, dude. He can say what goes in his house. If you're in somebody's house and they don't want you there and they ask you to leave, they can call the police. They can call the police. It's their property. It's their house. They get to protect their own house. If it's his property, if it's his store, and he doesn't like what they're saying, he can say, leave. I don't want you here. And if they disagree, he can call the police. Just signpost it properly, so people have a chance. Don't just spring it on them. Say, listen, guys, everybody's got a chance. This is all of your stores. I don't care what political background you are, where you're from, what you do. This is the store policy, though. That's the store policy. The minute they break it, give them a warning. If they break it again, give them another warning. Gets the 3 strikes, out, gone. Get them out. And if they won't leave, call the police. And the police will come, and if it is private property, they have no choice. Even if they want to back them up, they have no choice but to back you up by the letter of the law, right? It's private property, it's your store, it's your place, you decide what goes. And if you're not comfortable with people being on your private property, you can tell them to get the fuck off your private property. And if they won't leave, you can call the police to remove them. And if you're living in places like fucking Texas, you can just get your gun out. Right? Don't do that. But, you know, that's the reason why that law's there. Those are your rights as an American citizen. You can say, get the fuck off my property. I've got a shotgun. Get off my property right now. That's what the law's there for. If you don't like what's going on in your property, the whole law is based on, you know, that factor of Magna Carta, right? That's what they were hearkening back to with the original ideals. There's a very good reason why Simon de Montfort is given pride of place in the Senate House in Washington. He literally has a statue there. And the reason that is because his actions, inadvertently, eventually, were involved in Magna Carta happening at all. Magna Carta is the basis of civil law. It's a basis of law in the land for the common people, saying you can't, as a king, you can't take away my rights, you can't take away my freedom, my liberty, without a judge, without being judged by my peers. You can't do that. It's not your God-given right to take away my freedom and my liberty. Okay? Same goes for my own private property. Every Englishman's home is his castle. That was the whole thing of Magna Carta. Every Englishman's home is his castle. And the Americans took that idea and ran with it. They went, okay, that's the entire countrywide. This is the Constitution. It means no one can fuck with my castle. This house, this land is my castle. And what I say on this castle goes. As long as I'm not breaking federal law, what goes on in my castle is my business and nobody else's. If I want to have an orgy in my castle every day, you don't get to... As long as I'm not breaking any laws, as in graping anybody or anything, you don't get a fucking say what goes on in my castle. That's it. And if I don't want something happening in my castle, I don't give a shit about your freedom of speech or anything like that. Doesn't count in private property. Doesn't. This is my private property. Leave. That's the only way I can see around this. Signpost it nice and clear. I'm not sure how it'll work if this is California, because I'm not sure what the laws are there. But private property, this is private property. These are the rules now. If you don't follow these rules, you'll get 3 warnings, then you'll be asked to leave. As long as those rules are nice and clearly stated, so when the police come in, they see that sign and then go, guys, it's there. It's private property. It's his house. His place. This is his place. If he's asked you to leave, you need to leave. That's it. That's it. If you go into a store like Subway and you start spouting off nonsense, they can ask you to leave. If you go into a Subway and you start spouting off racist nonsense, they can say, please leave. This is private property. If you don't leave, they can call the cops. Same goes here. The same should apply here. Granted, I'm doing it from an ideal world standpoint, you know, but the same should apply here. You should be able to say, look, this is not appropriate. This is not what I want in my store. Please leave. You know, you got to go nuclear here, man. You got to go nuclear. This is too insidious right now. You're not going to get rid of it any other way. Either ban them, change the clientele in the store, get rid of them. I don't know how you do it, but this is how I would do it. I would clearly signpost it so they get a chance. And even then, they'll get 3 chances of breaking the rules, and then I ask them to leave. When I ask them to leave, if they refuse, then I call the cops. That's it. I call the cops. Say, sorry, I'm not having this. No. It's the only option here is to just go nuclear, as far as I'm concerned. Is what it is. And I stand by that, by the way. If you're doing a history degree, make sure when you're reading up on history, if you're reading the Gallic Wars by Julius Caesar, if you're reading Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, or anything, Tacitus, Cassius Dio, any of these other people, make sure you're taking their words from their own standpoint. Do not project modern values onto ancient people, or even onto medieval people. People from World War II, beyond that, yeah, fine. That's technically the modern world. Even though they've got different views, technically the modern world, right? It's the 1940s, we're getting there. Those are the same people, by and large, that are alive today. Let's be honest, right? So, as long as our generations are touching theirs, which they are, my grandpa was alive in World War II, right? As long as our generations are touching theirs, they're a part of us. So, absolutely, judge them by modern standards. Right? You know who I mean, right? Judge them by modern standards. They're dickheads. But people like Julius Caesar, people like Caligula, these despots from ancient history who did really bad shit, or even from medieval history, or even the 1800s before then, right? The British Empire. Don't judge them by modern standards. You've got to judge them by the standards of the time. If you judge them by modern standards, you're missing a whole lot of context, and you'll ruin history for yourself. Okay? Cool. Moving on. Commodore says, hey North, Northern most of exiles, thank you mate. I hope you're doing well while reading this. I have been following your channel for years now, and it feels good to have been there towards the beginning of the ride. At least the Hobby Nightmares part. I hope your channel keeps growing and helping other people like it did me. As for who I am, well I guess you can call me Commodore. As I write this, I am genuinely not sure if I'll actually send it in or not, because I'm not really one to share my feelings with others, let alone my burdens and things online like this. But for the same time, this is somewhat anonymous, and I need to try something different. I'm going to split this into 2 sections, as even though they're both connected, maybe it's for you to judge if they're hobby related and have different problems. Okay. Story 1. My life at the moment. For starters, kudos to anybody who sends stories in, because sitting here writing this, my perfectionist brain is trying to figure out the best way of starting, knowing that you are going to read it partially as entertainment, but also a load of people are going to hear this. But basically, the story is about me losing passion for the hobby, along with most other things in my life. To dive right in, I have been fighting depression for a decade now, starting in high school. The main problem I have is a bit of a vicious cycle, where I never really knew what I wanted to do with my life. I still don't really, foreshadowing, which has partially led me to live a bit of an apathetic lifestyle. But I also don't really show deep passions for things, because I'm so apathetic. I essentially just go with the flow, in everything in my life to an extreme degree. I'm a pretty stoic guy, and for all my life, I have been basically hidden my feelings away from others. Always opting instead to help make others feel good, even if it's at my own expense. This is why I have always been a sort of class clown, for example. I get enjoyment out of making others feel good. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Stoicism is also about doing that, by the way. It is about going with the flow. That's part of Stoicism. It just is. Stoicism is a part of being at harmony with the world around you and realising that you are enough. And being a good man is enough. Thing is, though, here's the thing. There was a really good quote that Henry Cavill said the other day in an interview. He was actually quoting Warhammer quite a lot, but then he turned around and he said, look, if you give a man good food, good sex, and good money, he will lose every ounce of ambition he ever has in his soul. That's why I ferret my money away and I don't touch it. He puts it in a savings account and never touches it, right? That's why I stay single for the most part. To drive myself to get better. That's why I go on diets all the time and I work out to make sure that I'm always hungry, I'm always going for things. That's a guy who's going his own way and is killing it in life, and sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes you need to get out of the comfort zone. Sometimes you need to stop being so comfortable so that you can start actually appreciating when you're doing something well in life. I don't quite subscribe to that because I think you should allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labour. Definitely. But I also think that hunger is a huge part of being a man. I don't mean hunger as in I'm hungry. I mean hunger as in I want more. That's a huge part of being a dude. And being a self-fulfilled dude. What I think you're experiencing here is a loss of that hunger. You don't have that drive. That fire in your belly. Right? That cheesy song, Eye of the Tiger, right? It is cheesy as fuck. But it also hits on a very, very, very good point. So does that Rocky movie. Where Rocky gets the shit beaten out of him by Clubber Lang, right? The whole point of that happens is because Rocky doesn't have that hunger anymore. He's not a killer anymore. He doesn't have that in him anymore. He's been enjoying the fruits of his labour, and he just wants everybody to like him and to have a good time. He's lost that anger. He's not angry at the world anymore. Trent Reznor, the lead singer of Nine Inch Nails, has said the reason why The Downward Spiral as a piece of art is so good as an album is because number one, he was doing drugs, and number two, he was fueled by anger, hatred, and hunger. He had nothing going on in his life, and he was raging at it, and that's why the Downward Spiral was such a good album. And every album after that, since he sobered up and was rich and had lots of resources now, didn't quite have the same bite and didn't quite sell as well. That's because he wasn't there anymore. He wasn't in that place where you felt that visceral, and you got it out there, and you wrote it. A band's first album, a writer's first book, a director's first movie, where they work out all of their angst. Those are usually their early work is usually the best. Tarantino, right? Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, his best movies. By far his best movies. He's working out all of his fucking issues and saying to the rest of the industry, go fuck yourself, this is what I'm passionate about, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to have sleepless nights. The best Star Wars movies were the original trilogy. Why? Because George Lucas nearly fucking killed himself making those movies and writing them and getting them right and making sure that it was doing exactly the story that he wanted to do. He even couldn't direct the second and third movies. He couldn't do it. He was on board, he was the executive producer, he was there the entire time, but he couldn't do everything because it would have killed him. The very reason why that was a success, because he drove himself to make it a success. Right? And the reason why the sequels were just full of CGI bullshit is because George Lucas doesn't have that hunger anymore. He's a multi-billionaire. He has no interest, really. He just wants to tell his story in the most lazy, nonchalant way that he can. He just wants to dial in the numbers and get it right for his own... He really wanted to write a book, let's be honest. He wanted to write a book, but he had to do a movie, so he filled it with CGI nonsense. That was episode 1, 2, and 3, right? Don't even get me started on Disney, that's an entirely different thing, but that's why those films went that way. He lost that hunger. He doesn't have that chip on his shoulder anymore. He's not angry at the world to say, look, I'm doing something new, go fuck yourself. I'm doing something new. He didn't have it anymore. And you could tell. Which is why I am in complete awe of sportsmen. Of people like Michael Jordan, people like Cristiano Ronaldo, people like Lionel Messi, people like that. I'm in awe of those people. And Alex Ferguson, right? I'm in awe of those people. Because no matter how much they win, they always need to win more. They always need to prove they're the best. And that's why they're ripped, that's why they're rich, that's why they're driven, that's why they have all the things that they want in life all the time. Because they never lose that hunger. And the minute they do, they're done. They retire. They're done. You know? And that's what I think you've lost here. I just think you don't have that hunger, you don't have that drive, you don't have that spark in yourself. That gives a man his self-worth at a core, deep, personal level. I think that's not there in you right now, from what you've just said. Alright, carrying on. It was also partly due to my work ethic. I am sure there are a good amount of people out there who can relate to this, but school was honestly a bit of a breeze for a long time for me. I always hate saying this because I am in no way a braggart in any way, shape or form. But I've always been pretty smart, or at least in most subjects. I've always sucked at maths, however. I was a GATE student in high school, which just means you're a gifted student with a lot of potential. Most people think this is a great thing, but in all honesty for me, and I'm sure for others, it turned out to be a bit of a curse. It meant that without trying, I could do well in school. So for the most longest time, I didn't try very hard at school, getting through by minimal effort. That is, until things got a little bit difficult, and I just couldn't pass classes without trying. All of a sudden, I'd have to actually study. The problem with that is that I never learned those skills and self-discipline, unlike other kids who might have struggled more in school and had to learn those skills. Right, so mate, you are incredibly self-aware. This is showing me you have all the tools to turn this around, right? So now, all of a sudden, in like high school, I started to fail more classes and my GPA dropped. My grade point average dropped. I barely got into a decent college, although regardless, college didn't do much for me, as I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tried studying finance, mainly because my older brother had studied that and gotten a successful job. I obviously didn't enjoy it, plus it was heavy with maths, which added to the fact that I don't know how to study. Dude, you made that's like the worst, the best decision you could have made there is going, what subject do I enjoy the most? Right, I'm doing that, I don't care what it is, I'm doing that. Add trying to be in a fraternity and working a full-time job to pay for it all, and pretty soon I got kicked out of college for bad grades. So basically, I moved in with my parents and just started working at a gas station. And around this time I started to get my first taste of the hobby. I started to read more lore basically since I'm a bit of a sci-fi nerd. My interest for 40k kind of started, but then kind of also died out. Okay. Eventually, I met someone at the job who's an absolute chad of the hobby, who deserves his own short story, honestly. He rekindled the hobby for me. I started to deep dive into the lore, watching video after video, including your channel, by the way, so cheers for helping me get back into the hobby. No problem, man. He eventually convinced me to buy my first models. In fact, he actually got me some of my first models too. For those wondering, my first army was Tau. I got myself a broadside, some crisis suits and a fire team. From here, my passion for Warhammer blew up. I started listening to audiobooks, bought a commander to paint after learning some basic painting lessons with my other units, watching some YouTube videos, etc. At this point in life, things were kind of looking up. I had bought a house using the money I had made from investments. I was living with my girlfriend, whom I met at college, and even had an adorable dog. Without getting too much into details, eventually, money got scarce, and my new job was losing me more money than I was making. Nor was I really enjoying it anyways. Eventually, I decided to quit. At this point, my depression started to get much worse. I've never seriously contemplated doing away with myself, thankfully, but this was my closest to it. I had intense feelings of worthlessness, being lost, regret, and guilt. Essentially, years of suppressed emotions burst out. At this point, I put the brakes on the hobby as I felt too much guilt that I was dragging us down financially and my girlfriend was working hard to barely keep us afloat. To be playing with little toy soldiers at the same time felt inappropriate to me. During my unemployment, I got into a programming course of sorts that possibly meant I would have a well-paying IT job. I also paid a monthly stipend which would help with finances. Okay. After the course, it took me several months to land a job, which was also an extremely difficult time of feeling constantly rejected and thinking I'd wasted my time in my course. Luckily, I was able to finally get an internship style job in IT. It had been a few months since then. Sorry, it has been a few months since then. But I haven't fully recovered mentally yet. I am much more financially stable now, although still at risk of going back under. The problem I'm having now is that my apathy for life has not improved. I actually tried going to therapy with better help, but got a pretty bad therapist who didn't seem like he was paying attention and would regularly just forget important things I had told him. I do plan on going back to therapy soon, but haven't pulled the trigger yet. The problem I have now is that I find it hard to enjoy things in life more than ever. At best I get like minor amusement or distracted. Everything feels dull, and I have to force myself to do it. My life feels so aimless, and every day I worry I might lose my job one day because I'm not really interested in it, and I worry that's going to cause my work quality to slowly slip. I've been trying to get back into the hobby, the problem mainly being I can't really justify paying $80 on 3 little plastic guys. Yeah. With you on that one. I've been seriously thinking about buying a 3D printer, but those aren't a small investment either. So I'm stuck in a limbo where I can't start the modelling part of my hobby again, my favourite part, because I don't want to spend the money on Games Workshop products nor the alternative. I even tried writing some lore on a new chapter I want to build an army for, but even that has gotten difficult for me, not being able to find the motivation to do it. This has kind of resulted in me retreating into a shell, as it's getting harder to kind of deal with life. Funnily enough, I think part of the reason I like 40k so much is because of its simplicity. Let me explain what I mean. I used to be super involved in current events, politics, history, etc. But recently, I haven't had the mental fortitude. It all gets much more complicated and harder to deal with as you start to get back into it. I used to regularly debate and speak with all people online on politics, for example, but now I open, say, Reddit or whatever, and see a post about something that I disagree with. I like to surround myself with dissenting opinions to avoid an echo chamber, and weirdly just get overwhelmed with reading all these people's harsh and contrary comments. Dude, I'm with you there. That's not a problem that is just yours. I'm completely with you. I get that as well. I just get tired of it and I close it. In all honesty, I'm just done with it. Or I feel every day I see 10 videos about X company doing this to your X, or how the politics of this or how politics are super corrupt or whatever. And like I said, recently all this just negative information has really gotten me and beaten me down. Okay, I'm gonna just skim the rest of this little part here. Meanwhile, 40k sometimes feels so straightforward, as I find myself regularly wishing I could just be a space marine and just know exactly what I have to do with the good guy and who the good guys and the bad guys are. That's what I mean by simple, I guess. Well, dude, that's why the far right and far left are growing in popularity, right? That's why people are absolutely exhausted with political discourse. And so it's a lot easier for them to just be like, these are the good guys and these are the bad guys. And that's it, you know? What you are, my friend, is a university-educated double thinker. You're able to see the other person's point of view. I'm also that kind of a person. But we're the people who are susceptible to getting run down and sick of modern politics. We're those people. Okay, that's us. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it, in all honesty. I don't really know what to do with my life at this point. I feel like my only goal right now is to make enough money in order to have and do things, but also, I want to do something I enjoy. I like history, for example, but can't see myself being, say, a history professor or a potential carer, as a potential career. I feel that I need a grander purpose in life that I don't want to just have barely existed. Seneca once wrote, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favourable." That's a really good quote, yeah. Yeah, if one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favourable. And that pretty much sums it up for me. I imagine you can't really answer that question for me, obviously, but I just think I need to get my problem out there. Thanks, Nor, for reading this, and I'm looking forward to listening to more of your rants. Okay, I'm going to get into your second part next time, alright? The second part's about your girlfriend, so I'll get into that a bit next time, because we're already running on for time. But I've been here. I stumbled upon YouTube as my thing. Okay, so even though I work in history as a teacher and a private tutor, that's like my main bread and butter. I find the work that I do on YouTube is the one that really, when I look back at my life and I go, did I help anybody? Did I do anything? I'll look back at my time on YouTube and I'll go, wow, I helped people there. And that means that my life did something. It was worth something. And I stumbled on that, though. I stumbled on that. What I would do if I was you, if you like history and you like reading up about it, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing a night course in this, going to your local community college, doing a night course, and eventually getting your qualification in teaching history. There are qualifications out there that will allow you to do that, depending on which state you're in. For instance, I will say right now, I went to a university course at National Lewis for my master's degree, my MD, right, my master's degree, and it was absolutely easy. It was really, somebody like you would breeze through it. I could have done that part-time easily. I didn't because I was lazy, but I could have done it part-time and I still had a job. And now I'm qualified fully to teach history with an Illinois diploma and teaching license. I have a teaching license in Illinois, and with it being Illinois, and with me having an American teaching license, what you don't realize is that teaching license is worth a lot everywhere in the world. You can go teach in the UK, you can go teach in Europe, you can go teach in China, in Japan, in Australia, and any of these other places, because your teaching degree is held in such high esteem. That's what I would do. In part-time, get your big boy pants on, pull them up, and suck it up, and go and get your teaching degree in history. Go and make sure that you can go and do that. The reason why you're saying you can't do it, you mentioned it 3 times in this write-up, right? And then you say you can't do it. That's your small brain talking. That's your doubt talking. All right? That's your beaten down doubt talking. That's your depression talking. That's your depression hijacking your brain saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. Yes, you fucking can. Stop being a wuss. All right? That sounds horrible. Oh my god, you're judging somebody with mental health issues. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm telling his depression to fuck off. This is me talking to your depression, Commodore. Not talking to you. Depression, Commodore's depression, fuck off. Leave him alone, right? Stop letting that shit run out your mouth and talk you out of doing things that are going to be a positive change in your life. And if your missus doesn't get that, leave. Leave. Because, here's the thing. Sometimes, my friend, sometimes you're not ready in your life to be in a long-term relationship. To be in a long-term relationship, you need to be stable financially, stable mentally, and you need to be stable in what you want in life and fully fulfilled. If you're not there yet, you can't find that in somebody else. And it's unfair on you to give that burden to somebody else, right? So what I would do, I'd be very honest in what you want to do. Sit back, and it's a very freeing thing, dude. It's a very exciting time in your life. You sit there and you go, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? I have this job that I'm earning money from, and I'm doing quite well financially from, and it's keeping my head above water. So whatever I do, I have to do it working out how to keep this job at the same time. No problem. All right, I want to go and do a course, a master's degree in education, specialising in history. What university around me does that? Okay, I'll apply to do a course there. No problem. And I'll try and make sure that I can go. By the way, you can get a loan. You can get a student loan in America. I got one in America. I'm still paying it off, but it was a very good rate. You can go and get a student loan. You can go and make sure that your college course is paid off, right? And so you can go and do it that way. You don't need to pay for it yourself. You will be putting yourself in debt. Don't get me wrong, right? But so am I, and so is everybody in the US. I don't think anybody is getting a college degree or a diploma that they can go and teach who isn't in student debt. All right? This is just a sacrifice you're going to have to make if you want to be a teacher. Just is what it is. Okay? So, if you want to go and be a teacher, go. I would recommend Discover student loans. They were really good with me. Discover were really good. Discover student loans are really good. I went with them, and I got myself a loan that fully paid for my my master's degree, and I'm slowly paying it off, and in little increments every month. It's not a lot of money, and I don't really notice it when it goes out. It's fine, and it's all good. And I got my degree, and now I'm a master's degree, and now I'm completely qualified to be a teacher in history, right? So if you want to teach history, that's what I would do. And the thing with the master's degree is they put you in schools teaching social studies. So you're teaching history. So they will literally, during your training, put you in schools, right? And depending on your state, it's one of the only things that you can do. I know it works this way in Illinois. It's one of the only courses you can do where your job can't fire you. So if you say, listen, I'm taking Wednesdays off because on Wednesdays I do a placement in a local school as part of my teacher training, your job can't fire you for that. Right? It's an essential role. It's an essential job within the state board of legislation. It's an essential job, so they can't fire you for it. I'm not sure what it'll be where you are, right? But you won't even need to give up your job, dude. There are ways and means of going about doing this. All it takes is a bit of research and a bit of chutzpah and a bit of never say die. I'm doing this, and I don't care what the fuck you say. I'm doing this. That's what it takes. You need to rediscover that fire in your belly. Because all you're doing right now, you're drifting through as a ghost. You're just drifting through. Right? Trying to keep everybody happy. Fuck that shit. Even if you need to move in with your parents and not pay any rent. Fuck that shit. Do it. Take the plunge. Right? Take the plunge. Because it means, dude, you can't go through life like this. You can't. Because you'll end up doing something silly or being miserable for the rest of your life, having kids and making them miserable because they see dad come home from work, he doesn't want to play with them, he doesn't want to spend time with them because he's exhausted, he's done, he's checked out mentally. You don't want that, dude. You don't want that. Even if you need to end your relationship, even if you need to quit your job and move back in with your fucking parents whilst you do this degree, whilst you go and sort your life out and you figure out what you want to do, it's worth it. The short-term pain is worth the long-time gain. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Try and find a way to keep the plate spinning. Do that, yeah. Try and find a way to keep your job and your relationship. No problem with that. Try. But if it's one or the other, choose the other. Choose long-term happiness. Choose yourself. Alright? That's my advice. Do some research. Figure out what you want to do. If you want to be a history teacher, I can send you some people. I can send some contacts your way where they can talk to you and they can get you in there, right? And they can set you on the path, okay? If you want to be a history teacher in the US, I can do that for you. But it's not easy, right? But it is something that you can do in part-time if you're already quite a gifted individual. It's not something you're not going to be able to do part-time, right? The only problem is when you do your training, and that might be where you need to make a hard decision about your job. And if your partner doesn't get that, maybe it's time you look at that situation as well. Alright? That's what I would do. Anyway, I'm done. I'm losing my voice. This is well over an hour. You lucky people. It's well over an hour. I love you all long time. I'll speak to you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow where I'm going to be talking about Games Workshop. Oh yes. Games Workshop and them putting the Battle Scribe behind a paywall on the Warhammer Plus thing. I'll be doing that tomorrow. A little rantage is coming your way tomorrow. Love you all long time. Speak to you then. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll speak to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.